Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Picture this. A really long-standing partnership, just suddenly gone.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened around Sri Ramakrishna right in the middle of 1881. His companion, Hriday, who'd been with him for years, makes this rather dramatic exit.
It's like one door slams shut, and almost immediately another one starts to open. You get these new people arriving.
Exactly. And this whole thing, Hriday's dismissal from the Kali temple, it's kind of a focal point, isn't it?
It really is. It sharpens our view on, the relationships swirling around Sri Ramakrishna at that time, and it hints at where things are heading.
Right. And just so everyone knows, we're drawing this from the biography, Life of Sri Ramakrishna, a complete biography.
A key source for understanding this period.
So, Hriday, he wasn't just some guy hanging around. He was there from early on, really integral.
Definitely. But the biography points to this.
Yeah.
Well, this gradual shift in him. A kind of growing avarice, a desire for stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like people figured out they could get closer to Sri Ramakrishna by giving Hriday gifts.
That seems to be the gist of it. And apparently the master tried to, put a stop to it, discourage it.
But Hriday just wanted more.
It seems so. It even got to the point of him publicly taunting Sri Ramakrishna, behaving offensively.
Wow, given their history, that must have been, well, really hurtful.
You'd think so. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How even close relationships, especially in a spiritual setting, can get twisted by ego, by wanting things.
And remember that story about Lakshmi Narayan offering that huge sum of money?
Oh yeah, the master turned it down flat.
Exactly. And when you put that next to Hriday's behavior, it just shows how different their values were becoming, right?
Completely different paths. Friday's focus on gain was just fundamentally clashing with the master's whole way of being.
And it wasn't just about taking presents. The biography says Hriday started mimicking Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual stuff, the singing, the dancing.
Like he was putting on a performance.
Yeah, trying to pass himself off as a Paramahamsa Deva.
Which is, well, for those who might not know, that's considered a really, really high state of spiritual realization. Someone beyond ego, beyond duality.
So for Hriday to be acting like that, it's quite something.
It really is. Plus, he was apparently hitting visitors up for gifts, trying to boss Sri Ramakrishna around. The biography just calls him a positive nuisance. Pretty blunt.
It really makes you wonder about authenticity, doesn't it? Like, what's real spiritual growth versus just copying the outward signs?
That's a core question here.
Yeah.
And Hriday trying to control the master, it shows he didn't really grasp the teacher-disciple dynamic at all.
There's that incident with the cauliflower that just nails this whole dynamic. Sri Ramakrishna's sick, right? Feverish. And some devotees bring him a cauliflower. He's happy, but then he's like, quick, hide it, because he's afraid of Hriday's reaction.
Yeah, think about that. The master worried about Hriday getting angry over a vegetable.
He even starts praising Hriday almost excessively, saying how important he is now, owns land, lends money.
It sounds like he's trying to butter him up beforehand, doesn't it? Almost placate him. Shows how strained things must have been.
You have to wonder about the power balance there,
Definitely. Despite his own spiritual stature, the master seems genuinely anxious about Hriday's temper.
And then right on cue, Hriday walks in.
Of course.
And the master gets all flustered, denies asking for the cauliflower.
And Hriday just blows up.
That's what it says. Flew into a rage and reprimanded him severely. Can you imagine?
Wow. Reprimanding Sri Ramakrishna.
So the master, feeling sick and now humiliated, appeals to the Divine Mother. But then, this is the incredible part, his mood just flips.
Suddenly shifts.
Completely. He says something like, oh, Hriday loves me, he's just like a child, and then boom, he goes into samadhi.
Just like that, after being yelled at.
Yeah, that deep meditative state. It's an amazing sequence, isn't it? From fear to humiliation to this acceptance and then transcendence.
It really shows his capacity, doesn't it, to just process that kind of negativity on a spiritual level. See past the surface insult, maybe.
Maybe. But the biography says this kind of unbearable behavior kept going. He was insulting other people too.
So things are just getting worse.
Seems like it. And then we get to what looks like the final straw, the incident with Trilokinath's daughter.
Ah, yes, during the temple anniversary festival.
Right. Hriday decides to do this tantric ritual. It involved offering flowers and sandal paste to the feet of this little girl who was about 8.
Okay, so in Tantra, that can be about seeing the divine in everyone, even a child. But
the context here was tricky. The mother finds the sandal paste, finds out what happened, and she freaks out.
why exactly?
Well, Hriday was a Brahmin. The girl was from the Sudra caste. And in the social hierarchy of the time, a Brahmin worshipping a Sudra like that, it was seen by some as really improper, even potentially bringing bad luck or misfortune.
Ah, okay, so it's a clash between maybe a spiritual interpretation and the rigid social rules of the time.
Exactly. Trilokyanath, the girl's father, and also one of the temple trustees, was furious.
Understandably, given the social view.
He ordered Hriday out immediately. Leave the temple grounds.
Just like that.
Yeah. So Hriday goes and tells Sri Ramakrishna what happened.
And what does the master say?
Just asks him, quite simply, why did you act like that? Now what will you do?
No judgment, just practical questions.
But Hriday is still defiant. He actually tells the master he should leave too. Says, they might insult you next.
Wow. Trying to pull the master into his own drama.
But Sri Ramakrishna refused, said he wasn't going anywhere.
That really shows his connection to the place, doesn't it? To the Divine Mother there. He wasn't going to be pushed out by this.
No, he was rooted there, despite all the chaos around him.
His commitment was absolute.
But get this, it escalates. Right after Hriday leaves, someone else tells Sri Ramakrishna to leave the garden too.
Seriously, they tried to kick the master out.
Apparently. But then Trilokyanath sees him leaving, rushes over.
The same guy who kicked Hriday out.
The very same. And he pleads with Sri Ramakrishna to come back, to pray for his daughter.
What a turnaround.
Isn't it? And the master just calmly agrees and goes back. Later on, she reflected on it all.
What does he say?
He said something like, his high-handed conduct gradually became intolerable, and the mother removed him as his presence was hampering her work.
So he saw it as the Divine Mother's intervention.
That seems to be how he understood it. And one key outcome of Hriday leaving, it actually opened things up for the younger devotees. They could get closer access to the master.
So Hriday's departure, while difficult, actually paved the way for a new phase.
Exactly, a major turning point.
It's also worth noting, though, that Hriday didn't just disappear off the face of the earth.
Right, he moved nearby, didn't he? To Jadu Malik's garden house.
Yeah, and Sri Ramakrishna, being Sri Ramakrishna, kept sending him meals. Even went to visit him sometimes.
That shows something about their bond, doesn't it? Even after all that drama.
It does. It was complex. Hriday even tried at one point to convince the master to leave Dakshineswar with him. Started a new temple somewhere else.
And what did the master say to that?
His reply is just classic. He said, well, do you mean to hawk me from door to door like a curio?
Wow. Just perfect. Really sums up his detachment from any kind of, personal ambition or brand building.
Exactly. He saw himself as an instrument, not something to be marketed.
Then, fast forward about 3 years, there's this reunion.
Ah, the later meeting. Quite emotional, wasn't it?
Very. Someone tells the master that Hriday is waiting at the gate, and even though he's with other devotees, he immediately goes out to see him.
No hesitation.
None. And the scene, Hriday just prostrates himself, weeping. The master's clearly moved, tears in his eyes too, but he tries to sort of hide it.
That shared history. It must have been powerful in that moment.
Absolutely, despite everything.
So much time, so many experiences together.
And their conversation is, it's brief, but telling. Hriday says how sad he is they're separated. The master gently reminds him of some things Hriday himself had said in the past. And then, completely practically, asks him how the crops are doing.
That's so typical, isn't it? That blend of the spiritual and the utterly down to earth.
It really is. And later, he talked about Hriday with the others, acknowledged his past devotion, but also the difficult behavior later on.
So, not painting him as just a villain, recognizing the complexity.
Exactly. People aren't simple, are they?
Rarely. It's a very human story, even amidst these profound spiritual events.
So with Hriday moving out of the immediate picture, we start seeing these new figures emerge, people who become really important. Harish and Bhavanath especially.
Right, the next wave, you could say.
Harish first, young guy, came from a pretty well-off family.
Had a wife and family already.
But meeting the master just completely changed his perspective, became disillusioned with, the worldly life, just wanted to be at Dakshineswar.
And the master saw something genuine in him.
Yeah, recognized his sincerity, liked his focus, his quiet nature, offered him shelter there.
So Harish basically renounced his old life.
Pretty much. Lived at Dakshineswar, looked after the master, spent his time in prayer, meditation, very dedicated.
And quiet about it, mostly.
Yeah.
Not showy like Hriday had become.
Not at all. And his family wasn't happy, apparently. They pressured him to come back.
But he stuck to his guns.
He did, stayed devoted. Sri Ramakrishna really admired him for it. Said something like, real men are dead to the world even while living. Look at Harish.
High praise.
Definitely. But there was this moment The master asked Harish about his wife, who was apparently suffering because he'd left.
Uh-oh. What did he suggest?
He suggested Harish should go back, console her, out of kindness.
Tricky situation. Worldly kindness versus spiritual resolve.
And Harish's response was, well, quite firm. He basically prioritized his spiritual ideal, his path of renunciation, over that specific act of worldly kindness.
Wow. That takes some serious conviction. How did the master react?
He was actually really impressed, praised Harish's spirit of renunciation highly to the other devotees, saw it as proof of his commitment.
So, Harish represents that path of intense, unwavering renunciation.
Seems like it. Then there's Bhavanath, even younger. Still a teenager when he first met Sri Ramakrishna, around the same time, 1881 or so.
And he also faced opposition.
Big time. His parents, relatives, they thought Sri Ramakrishna was, insane. Told Bhavanath to stay away.
But he didn't listen.
Nope. He felt this incredibly strong pull towards the master, visited all the time, even stayed overnight, despite his family forbidding it.
That magnetic quality again.
Yeah.
Something just drew certain people in, regardless of warnings.
Totally. Bhavanath came from a Brahmo Samaj background, so maybe more inclined towards the impersonal idea of God.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But the master loved him for his sincerity, his devotion.
Yeah, he saw something special in him, actually encouraged him to be friends with Narendranath, the future Vivekananda.
Saw a connection between them.
Yeah, a spiritual kinship. He even called Bhavanath eternally perfect.
Which implies
Right.
what? Someone naturally pure, already spiritually advanced in some way.
Something like that. An inherent inclination towards God, maybe less burdened by past karma.
Interesting classification.
And Bhavanath, at first he got into some external practices, like he stopped eating fish, gave up chewing betel leaf.
Trying to be pious.
Maybe. But the master kind of gently corrected him on that, said, well, what's the use of giving up fish or betel? They do not constitute the essence of religion.
Focusing on the externals isn't the main point.
Right, he said, the real thing is renunciation of lust and wealth. Inner purity over outer rules.
That's a consistent theme in his teaching.
Definitely. And Bhavanath, even though he got married young, seemed pretty detached from worldly enjoyment.
Wasn't interested.
Doesn't sound like it. The master even tested him once, playfully suggesting he should, enjoy the world a bit.
And Bhavanath's reaction.
He was almost indignant. Said something like, "Sir, should we too indulge in vulgar pleasures?"
Took it very seriously.
He did. And the master was really pleased with that response. It showed his genuine aversion to worldliness. Apparently, Bhavanath's purity really resonated with the master, evoked divine feelings in him.
So these two, Harish and Bhavanath, represent a very different kind of devotee compared to Hriday, especially later Hriday.
Totally different energy. Focused, renunciate, sincere.
So, if we bring this all together, what does it tell us, looking back?
Well, this whole period, Hriday leaving, Harish and Bhavanath arriving, it's clearly a huge shift, isn't it? A real turning point for Sri Ramakrishna and the group forming around him.
Absolutely. And thinking about it for you, the listener, it really throws those dynamics of relationships on a spiritual path into sharp relief.
Yeah, the contrast is stark. You've got Hriday's possessiveness, his ego leading to his exit.
And then the renunciation, the deep devotion you see in Harish and Bhavanath. It shows how differently people can react to the same spiritual source, the same teacher.
It really hammers home that idea that it's the interchange, the real commitment, that matters more than just showing up or having been there a long time.
Or putting on the outward signs.
Right. It's not about the performance, it's about the inner reality.
And maybe a final thought for you to mull over. Think about your own life, your own journey. How do the people around you, both their presence and their absence, shape your path?
Yeah, that's a good question. What kinds of influences are you allowing in, and are they helping you move towards whatever it is you're seeking? Or are they maybe, like Hriday became, kind of hampering the work?
Something to definitely reflect on. How do the relationships in your life affect your own evolution?
I hope you like this chapter. We need volunteers and sponsors to create content with even better quality and with more variety. If you wish to join this initiative as a volunteer or sponsor, please click the links given in description below. To help us reach more viewers, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Biography Central. Thank you for your time. It means a lot. Namaste.